I know you don't have an answer to this, but that's never stopped me from asking.
Never stopped us from answering.
That's true. That's true. What's your take on the retailers out there that are doing an effective job? Are most of them just trying to learn and just novices, or are most of them pretty well advanced, would you say?
Well, it's one thing that it really is a quality versus quantity issue. Okay, so what I'm meaning by that is, don't necessarily count the number of likes for, let's say, your competitor's Facebook page, because quite frankly, those could have been created by any number of means, and many of which are not exactly valid. Think of quality. The people who are really engaged with you, who really respect you, are really looking to you to provide good content and advice. That's the quality aspect. So, that's really the ones I would say who are doing a good job.
And Paul, would you also say then, when getting started, focus on one or two platforms?
Absolutely.
Don't try to do 10 at once.
Absolutely.
Do what you do well.
Right.
I see.
Right.
And I guess what works on one may not work on another.
Exactly. There are strategies for different platforms because they just operate differently. So, and we'll get into a lot of that when we get into
I see. Leads. Is the idea here to generate a lead? Somebody who started on your Twitter page, for example, end up walking through the front door. Obviously, that's what you want.
Oh, sure.
Or communicate with you in some way.
Absolutely.
And you need to know that. I mean,
Yeah.
Or one of their friends.
yeah. But is there a way to keep tabs on this? Just ask them when they walk in the front door?
Absolutely. There are a number of things, and we've talked to retailers who will do just that. I mean, retailers should be, even if they're not, big in social media or on the web, they should be doing that anyway. I mean, they should be finding out where their leads are coming from and monitor those and keep track of those anyway, and the good ones are. So
really the cost of this, I mean, this is basically free. Obviously, if you hire somebody to write this, mm-hmm. But in terms of looking at this, even if you hire somebody, the cost is probably less than what you spent before on traditional media.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean, where the cost kind of comes in, obviously, is the time that it takes in order to do it correctly. If as you suggested a second ago, with some of the retailers that you've talked to, they hire someone or they have someone part-time handling their social media and that kind of thing. But keep in mind, and don't ever forget this, okay? The land that you're building that Facebook page on is rented land. It's borrowed land, okay? That's not yours. It's Facebook's. So what happens is, if you don't play by their rules and do what you should do correctly, they can shut you down tomorrow, and you're gone, okay? So remember, your website is really yours. That's why we say it's the anchor, it's the hub. But all of these other platforms, that's borrowed space.
Interesting point. Interesting
And
point.
there's one other connection between that hub and those spokes and the rest of the wheel that I find very interesting. I've done some research looking at the websites of people in the flooring industry, from manufacturers to retailers, groups, and so forth. And I've looked at their contact us pages mm-hmm. to see, have they integrated a web strategy with a social media strategy?
Right.
And those entities, few and far between, have anything on their contact us page about their social media sites. Typically what they have is the headquarter address for a corporate office, an 800 number, and maybe a little bit of additional information. That's not social media. There's a missed opportunity there to connect the two strategies. Contact us using social media and have that relationship rather than a corporate headquarter address. I don't really care.
Yeah.
I'm a consumer looking to learn about you.
Interesting.
Well, a lot of consumers will actually say, and this is I've seen this in numerous surveys, consumer surveys, that they will actually rely more on the company's Facebook page to learn, really kind of learn about the company, really sort of the atmosphere, the attitude, the personality of the company, more than they will the website.
Well, it's not written by a copywriter. It's real input.
Exactly. There's an exchange there, and Facebook gives you the permission, to to kind of let your guard down a little bit, you know, kind of be human.
Interesting.
You know, not that good websites aren't, because they're well written, but there's something about the
It is more
platform-
intimate, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's social.
Let me ask you a question. A lot of times I'll get on a website looking for an interview, looking for somebody to interview. And more sites than not, I don't find the name of the owner or any name of anybody to do with the company. That would seem to be a bad idea. What would you say about that?
Well, you know, kind of cuts both ways, actually, because there are some concerns, privacy concerns, you know, that particularly the smaller businesses have. Even larger businesses have those by sharing the names of the executives and so forth in the company, because again, you know, there's a lot of crazy people out there. Okay,
Yeah.
so you know, I can see that. I can also see it the other way. Do you have an answer on that? I mean, do you have a feeling about that?
My answer is a definitive yes and no.
Yeah.
There are two sides to that coin.
Yeah.
And I think you have to look at your situation and what makes the most sense in the light of your overall strategy. If you're doing a good job in other areas, maybe you don't need that, because you've built a relationship using social media and other avenues. So I think it's case by case. But there are two sides to the coin. You
It
need
just
to think
seems to
about
me
it
as a
carefully.
consumer, if I am on the website, I see a picture of the owner or some of the salespeople, that's sort of, I know what to expect. It sort of is more welcoming to me.
You put a face with a name.
Certainly, I've seen web page strategies for companies. Their excuse me, basic message to their marketplace is, we've been here 40 years, we're part of the community, we will treat you like a friend and a neighbor. And their website is all about their people and their people's interest and pictures and so forth, because that's their marketing strategy.
Yeah.
A careful consideration. Somebody else who wants to talk about the breadth of product offering, and they have designers on staff and product experts, may talk more about product or show examples of designs they've created.
So there's more than one way to do this.
So I think back to your overall marketing strategy, the role of a web page, social media, what's right for you,
I've
and
got
make those
you.
decisions.
Review this whole idea again for us. I really think you guys are on something, this recipe approach. Just review that for our listeners before we wind this up.
Sure. The basic upshot of our session at the International Surface event on October 19th, 4:15 in the afternoon on Sunday the 19th, is that we've all heard experts talk about what social media is and that we should be using social media in our business. What's different about this session is we're going to get people who have actually used social media or sent us their questions about social media to talk about recipes, execution. What did it take? How did they do it? What was required? And so forth and so on. A chance in the session for those two parties to talk to one another, and a chance after the session for people to continue the conversation through social media.
Excellent. Now they need to register for this, and then they'll get or they'll be able to send you thoughts and questions and so on.
Yeah, I guess the survey will go out
late August,
Yeah.
and then for late registrants, probably again late September.
Yeah.
So we invite everyone to respond, let us know what your questions are. Because you've registered for the session, I think you're interested in the topic. Whether you send us your questions or send us your experience, we're interested in both. We'll use that to customize the session so that the people who do come maximize the value they get.
Great idea. I can't wait to see this whole thing
Well, we look
develop.
forward to you being there, Dave.
I will be there, camera in hand.
Okay,
good.
terrific. Thank you.
Gentlemen, thanks so much.
Okay.
We've been talking with Paul Friederichsen. He heads the firm Brand Biz Marketing, Advertising, and Branding firm, and Brian Gracon, who heads Brian Gracon and Associates. And this is Talk Floor TV.